Good evening and welcome to Speedway Town Council meeting. I call our November 11, 2019 meeting to order at 7 p.m. My name is Eileen Fisher. I'm President of Speedway Town Council. Others in attendance this evening from right to left, I have Councilor David Lindsay.
Good evening.
I have Vice President Jeff Matthews.
Good evening.
On my left, I have Councilor Jason Delisle.
Good evening.
Town Manager Jacob Bladesdell.
Good evening.
I have Clerk Treasurer Monty Combs.
Good evening.
And Town Attorney Bob Clutter.
Howdy do.
This time, if everyone would stand, we'll say the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on our agenda this evening is the approval for the minutes from our October 28, 2019 meeting. Any changes on those minutes? Seeing none, those minutes have been approved. We have the approval for the 2020 Town of Speedway designated holiday calendar. And has that been posted, Jacob?
I don't know if we have it posted yet. It is the same schedule that we have for next year, and so upon your approval, we would get that circulated out and made public.
Okay.
Madam President, I move that we approve the 2020 Town of Speedway designated holiday calendar.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to first and a second for the approval of the calendar for holiday calendar for 2020. Public comments at this time? Seeing none, any questions from councilors? We'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving the calendar for 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, approved 4-0. Next is the approval of notice and awards for the Maddox Industrial Group, Inc.
Yep, thank you, Madam President. This is an approval for a project for the bids, actually, for a project to install fine screen equipment at the wastewater plant. You might recall back at our July 8th meeting, the council awarded the project procurement to EnviroCare Company, this with Maddox Industrials, for them to actually do the installation. They were the low bid, they were the only bid, but they were deemed responsive and responsible by our engineer, and they have recommended approval.
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the notice of award with Maddox Industrial Group Incorporated.
Second.
The first and a second for the approval for the Maddox Industrial Award. We'll take any public comments. Seeing none, any questions from councilors? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving the award to Maddox Industrial Group, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, approved 4-0. Next is a resolution for 2019-14, a resolution adopting Indiana Code procedures for the public-private agreements. Jacob.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So this is a resolution that would allow the Town of Speedway to explore procedures around public-private agreements under Indiana State Code. We are looking more specifically at what is called a build, operate, transfer delivery method for capital projects. We're especially interested in taking a look at utilizing this for the town hall project. We've been through the more what I'd call traditional design, bid, build process, and like a lot of other public projects right now, numbers are a little higher than we would have liked to have seen, and so we're going through the process of looking at this potential delivery method, we're always trying to look at ways to save costs, and if we can do that and still get to the same product, we're very interested in exploring that option. This resolution doesn't say that we would use this process. It certainly doesn't award a contract to anybody. It simply allows us to go through the process of issuing an RFP and looking at, again, a method that might save some money delivering this project as well as potential future projects.
I move that we approve Resolution 2019-14, adopting Indiana Code procedures for public-private agreements.
Second.
The first and a second for the resolution of 2019-14. Public comments at this time? Seeing no public comments, any questions from councilors?
Jacob, this is something that other towns and cities are using throughout the state, is that correct?
More and more. Through the public bidding process, typically those are larger companies, and because there is so much work out there right now, People are noticing that numbers are a little bit higher than what they typically would be or would expect. And so a lot of other communities are exploring this as an option to at least take a look at it to see what kind of savings you can get from the process.
Thank you.
And will we still continue to go through the bidding process as we typically do then and have this option to fall back on, or how's that?
Yeah, so we still have the bids from the more traditional process, and we are evaluating those, but in the interim, kind of on a parallel path, we're looking at, well, we would issue an RFP and then evaluate that to see kind of where those numbers come in, and if we're getting the same project for lower costs, again, you kind of bring in some smaller contracting companies and that sort that maybe don't have quite as much work as some of the larger firms do or have some capacity and availability right now. That allows us to look at those numbers and kind of see what we would get there.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving the resolution 2019-14 say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approved 4-0. Thank you, Jacob. Next on the agenda is the approval for the claims and utility adjustments. Monty.
Thank you. The claims for tonight are from October 26th through this past Friday, November 8th. It's for the normal period of time of 2 weeks, so, and nothing abnormal, and would appreciate your approval.
Madam President, I make a motion we approve the claims as presented by our clerk treasurer this evening.
Second.
I have a first and a second for the claims. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, any questions from counselors? Hearing no questions, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of approving the claims as presented to us by clerk treasurer say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims approved 4-0.
Utility adjustments, we have none this period.
Very nice. Anything else for us, Monty?
Yes, I will. We did our 2018 audit. I've not gotten it back from the leaders of SBOA, but we had no findings when they left here at our meeting. I think you agree with that,
Yes.
President? So looking for a clean one. It's the first time in a while, I believe, so very pleased about it.
Good. Great work.
It's a good report, yep. Okay. Thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and take reports now from the department heads, and we will start with Tim Gropp, Economic Development Director.
Good evening, Council. A couple updates this evening. First on the Wilshaw project. So we have been continuing to push for additional information. Communication still has been less than adequate from the hotel side. With that said, we reached out directly to Hilton and Wilhelm, the construction contractor on this project. Got pretty good information. They obviously have to be careful what they can and can't tell us, but we felt much more comfortable after talking to Hilton directly that there were some delay issues there. It appears that they have been resolved and they have the go-ahead from Hilton on that side. From the Wilhelm side, they are still working on providing information to the the developer, and also are doing everything they can to prevent it from being any delays when it does start back up. So right now Hilton has it on the book to be still be opening in Q3 of 2020 if they start up soon. So that's about a quarter behind, which is about how long they've been down. It's been a little over 4 months now. So with all that said, we have a meeting with both developers, Scannell Group and Loftus Robinson this week, face-to-face meeting with all the attorneys and all the representatives of both sides to just try and open the communication, try to get a timeline back in place and see where we stand on the process. So we should have some additional information by the end of the week. Hopefully it's a good update, and we'll at least have a timeline for when they anticipate moving forward and help relieve some of the rumors and issues that are out there still. So I'll report back anything that we get back from that meeting, and hopefully it's a positive meeting. We just continue to try to open those communication windows because we're just not getting information from them at this point. So with that said as well, we are at the request of the council, we will be inviting them. We've already requested them to have a presentation for the town council after this meeting. So depending on if we have the meeting on the 25th or if we need to have it most likely it's probably safer to have them come the first week of December. We'll at least invite Loftus Robinson to be here to present as to where they're at, what the delays have been, and what their plan is to move forward. So we'll push on that in our meeting this week as well. So on to 2500 High School Road. Everything's moving full steam ahead right there as we speak. A lot of just final documents being drafted, and we're still waiting on the final approvals. Once we get the agreement with Circle K approved, we can really get moving forward. Our hope is to have that signed this week. We'd like to have, at our Speedway Redevelopment Commission meeting next Monday, we'd like to go over a final budget, any last approvals we need, so that we can go out to sell the bond on the next week, and then close on the bond in first or second week of December. And right after that, we have selected Atlas Excavation out of West Lafayette. It was the most responsive bid. They're ready to go. We had a scope clarification meeting with them, and we'd love to be pushing dirt and doing some utility relocates here by the end of the year here. So within that as well, we hope to have some announcements on some of the tenants here, hopefully within the next month if everything comes together. So we're getting right up to the edge of where we'd like to get moving, and our timeline is still to have all the infrastructure in place by the end of May in 2020, and have turned over as many of the sites as possible to new tenants so they can get started on their process. We hope to have new businesses open by the end of 2020 if possible. So we'll keep you posted on that, and we'll be working through Kelly for any information that we can release publicly, and we'll have hopefully a good update next week at the Speedway Redevelopment Commission meeting.
Any questions?
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tim.
All right, thank you.
Next is Police Chief Jim Campbell.
Good evening. On October 17th, we participated in a meeting at the request of Councilor Matthews that we had Brixmore and Kroger participated in that meeting. And I think it was one where we came away feeling pretty positive about raising some of the issues that we had that were, customer service, security type issues. I think first of all, they have a new manager that was pretty impressive, both in terms of his willingness to work with and, just his overall attitude about changes that he felt needed to be made at Kroger. One of them was the training of employees, the idea of, again, emphasis to customer service and more or less dealing with issues that I think had been raised by members of the community. Their hours, they close at midnight, which was a change for them. And security, I think Councilor Matthews has a picture of a camera system that they've installed in the parking lot.
I don't know if you can see this or not.
Again, outside the Kroger, this provides for them a whole better camera system. It even has almost a PA system on it. Now, the individual that was here from Kroger was one of their executives. I think they said they had 3 of them, and he pulled one just to bring here as a result of the discussions we had. So I don't know if you want to add to that or...
Well, thank you, Chief. I think the only thing that I've got to add is I think it's encouraging that they put it into action. They placed that unit today, and they were responsive to our meeting and to our request. So I think this is a good step in the right direction for sure. So thank you for participating. Thank you, Jacob, and you guys for being a part of it.
Well, and again, we offered them for our officers, obviously, to help with training or anything that we could participate. Our day shift and middle shift officers have been up to meet the new manager and, trying to establish that relationship. The next one is, and I'm not going to get into this tonight because this is probably about a 2-hour meeting. Some of you have heard of NIBRS, which is a reporting system that as of 2021 will be required for all law enforcement agencies. currently, we call uniform crime reporting as the system that we use when reporting crimes to the FBI, which is a requirement. Now, when NIBRS is instituted, one of the changes that it's going to make is they will take a particular crime. In the past, we would have called it robbery under UCR. Under NIBRS, it really goes into a lot more specifics. In a robbery, you could have a confinement. You at some point could have a battery. If there's a weapon, it could have a firearms charge. All of those will now show up as a crime. So, and most people I know, don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to UCR reports. But, one of the things that we're going to need to do is probably make more public the fact that NIBRS is going to reflect that increase, whereas if you had robbery, now you have all of the same incident. And again, I could probably talk about 20 minutes what they think this is going to benefit us for in the future. But, supposedly, and there's some other aspects of that, goes into more detail about the victims. It does, as part of the reporting system, there'll just be a lot more information about that particular crime. But, to the average person, when you say, how many robberies did you have? Well, in addition, you're going to also show whatever other crimes were reflected out of that incident, thus national incident-based reporting. So, it's probably something that we need to make the public aware of. We didn't have an increase necessarily in crime, but you have more detail as to, what was involved in that particular crime. And so we'll be doing a, kind of a public, if you will, exchange on how NIBRS is going to be different than uniform crime reporting. The other one is, as of now, we have 3,441 hours of training, which is pretty impressive, and I think most of you know ILEA requires every officer to do a minimum 24 hours, so you can see by math, how much more we do. And, we've also moved to where we're using Police One, which is a computerized training program where an officer can go in and get credit for the same class that we would have had to have, taken officers out of service, brought to a classroom. So, that's been a really positive for us. Last one is, next week we are going to meet with our new prosecutor, also a new ASAC from the FBI, with our normal chiefs meeting, of area chiefs. And I only bring that up again because I think the relationships and the positive that we do in those kinds of meetings, helps the town of Speedway and provides a pretty good exchange, if you will, again, with what's going on in the areas around us. So, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Next is Fire Chief Bob Fishburne.
I think you beat me tonight. Good evening, Council. Just a couple of things. At our Marion County Fire Chiefs meeting, which would have been 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were able to meet and discuss some plans with the new state fire marshal. They've got a lot of aggressive things that they're trying to do. Some possibility of a statewide fire academy, similar to what the police do, gives people, smaller departments, the opportunity to send to, a unified. Yeah, we learned some things from the police. State fire marshal's idea. So, and then I want to apologize for not letting you guys know that all of our trauma training stuff was over in the training room, because I know that trauma dumbing can be a little unnerving. And so we are in the midst of doing all of our trauma training with our guys. Last week we participated in live burns with Decatur Township, who invited us to do some of that so that departments that run together can train together. And that was very successful. And I do want to plant the seed in your head that maybe next year during budget time, we could look at maybe putting Veterans Day as a designated holiday. I want to take this opportunity to first of all thank all of our town employees who have served and our community who has served. I especially want to recognize firefighter Jim Bowes, engineer Michael Bowe, and Battalion Chief Mike Cheney, who all served in our military. And I just want to thank them for their service. I only plant that seed because I know there's a dollar amount attached to it, and I know it's something that doesn't come easy, but I think it's just something for us to look at, and it reminded me tonight when we approved next year's designated holidays. Other than that, I don't have anything, and if you don't have any questions, that'll conclude. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Next is Park and Rec, Tammy Smith.
Hello. First of all, we're in full swing for our Speedway Youth Basketball League. All elements are now either practicing or getting ready to start games. The boys' 5th, 6th grade started their practices tonight. This is a parent-run program, so I want to thank the parents that have stepped up to serve on the board, to coach, as well as other volunteer opportunities. And I want to thank the schools again for the use of their facilities. Without them, we wouldn't have the program, so we're real thankful to have that partnership with the Speedway schools. I want to mention Sunshine Bowling Center has partnered with Speedway Parks. Sunshine Bowling Center's in Claremont. They're going to offer a Speedway Parks special on Sunday, December 8th, during their normal operating hours of 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. For $25, you can get 2 games of bowling for up to 4 people, which includes the shoes, and a 12-inch one-topping pizza. You can get additional pizzas for $10 and additional bowlers with shoes for $6. That's the best deal they've ever offered anybody, and so I encourage people to get out and have a day of play on a cold day in December. Again, that's Sunday, December 8th. To get that special, you need to have the code phrase, which is Speedway Parks Special. So it's out on the Parks Facebook page, as well as I'm sure Kelly's got it out there everywhere. So hopefully we'll see a lot of Speedway people out there. Then I just want to give a shout out to our public safety personnel, street department employees, waterworks, wastewater, and our parks grounds people. They all work tirelessly outside all year long, and with having this cold snap that's come through, I think of them often, and I just wish them all safe and stay warm and thank them. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, a report from Jacob for Public Works.
Yep, wearing my Public Works hat right now. Updates from the wastewater plant. Things are running along well. The oil spill issue that we had kind of threw some of the biology in the plant off a little bit, but things are kind of recovering now, which is great. And credit to Norm, we've continued to meet our emissions requirements, even with some of the issues we've had with the oil spill. We have not had any spills since the issue was identified, but we are watching very closely and continue to monitor the situation. At the water plant, we have officially shut down the surface water plant, so we're now back to groundwater. And then a reminder that as we get into some of the winter months and snow starts falling, like tonight, this early, sometimes water bills start to be estimated rather than read, but of course it gets trued up eventually, but just be aware that that might start happening. And then also as it starts to get really cold, again, feels early to be making this this warning, but I guess it's not. But as you start to have cold temperatures, and especially if you've had problems in the past, to kind of leave your faucet dripping a little bit, leave some water running helps prevent some freeze-ups. And then from the street department, again, winter theme here, we're preparing for snow operations. We have somebody on duty right now monitoring conditions and out there working. And we'll, of course, continue to do so here over the next couple of days as we continue to expect some snow and colder temperatures. And in light of that, we are moving the yard waste pickup. So tomorrow's Tuesday yard waste pickup will be rescheduled to Friday. And I think we've been getting that out and I'm sure Kelly has that all over the place, because that's what she does. But yeah, so the yard waste will get picked up if you're on tomorrow's schedule, but it gets so cold, and this is part of why we don't run yard waste all year round, because it gets too cold to have our employees out there on the back of the truck and loading them up. We're just getting some really cold temperatures earlier than usual, and so we're gonna delay tomorrow's pickup to Friday. And Harding Group is still working on some last punch list items from the summer's repaving activities. So if you see some activity still, we're wrapping that up. And that's all I have on the public works side.
Questions from, all right. Town manager
Keep on cruising. All right,
report.
I'll change my hat now and be the town manager. So encouraging everybody to apply for boards and commissions. We're trying to make it as easy as possible to get involved. There are paper interest forms here at Town Hall. If you want to pick them up here, you can. Or you can go online to speedwayin.gov/boards, and that will take you to the Boards and Commissions page. You can get information. You can also apply now online. So it asks folks to start getting their interest forms in. If you're currently a member of a board and commission and your term is up, you should have been contacted by Kelly. We just need you to submit a letter stating that you would like to stay interested, that you'd like to stay on the board. You don't need to reapply, but just indicate that you would like to continue serving. To get that in, and then I'll just wrap up with, and I'm sure that I'm not going to be the last one to say this, but I certainly appreciate on Veterans Day all the veterans that serve our country, and also the families that also make sacrifices for what we have, and appreciate everything that they've done, and those that have served and continue to serve. Thank you.
Jacob?
Jacob, can you mention one little small thing that happened in town that I attended with you last Monday, maybe?
I didn't want to steal anyone's thunder. There's something happened this week?
Yeah.
So,
Something in town sold.
So there's a transaction with one of our local businesses here in the town of Speedway, with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, selling to Penske Corporation, specifically Penske Entertainment Corporation. Very exciting. There's been a lot of press and a lot of coverage on the town, not just in terms of what this could mean for the community, and certainly Roger's talking about a lot of investment, but a lot of kind of what's already happened in the town and a lot of the development. Roger was very complimentary of that, and wants to continue to be a part of this kind of growth and development that we've had over the past several years. And it's exciting, and it's I think everybody appreciates what the Holman George family's done, going back to saving that facility after World War II, and certainly here in the last action of transferring it to very positive and friendly hands that are going to respect the racing and that facility. So it's an exciting moment for the town, and we're looking forward to the future here.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Jacob. Next, we'll do reports from the counselors. So we will start with Counselor David Lindsay.
I just also want to wish our veterans in town and all the thousands watching at home happy Veterans Day today. That's all I have.
Thank you, David. Counselor Jason Doyle.
Nothing for me tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. And Vice President Jeff Matthews.
I have nothing this evening.
All right. Well, last report again, thank you to the veterans that have served and family members as well, because it is a group effort or a family effort from everywhere. So thank you for that. And with that said, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:30.